Hey everybody, I just wanted to say welcome back and thank you for joining us here at Freedom to Flourish. We wanted to just take an opportunity to give you a face to If Not for Grace, and that is Renee Kitchen. She is the executive director there. We just posted a testimony by Ashley, and we sent a link to If Not for Grace, and we want to just take this time to maybe ask some questions that maybe you're wondering in your family room, wherever you're listening, in your car, what exactly If Not for Grace is, and if you have found yourself impacted by abortion, how maybe they could help you. So I wanted to ask you a few questions. Ashley and I actually did. And I guess the first big question is what is If Not for Grace, and what services actually do you provide?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on. What an honor to be able to speak to all of you and to just share my heart and our ministry's heart for women and men who have been impacted by abortion. So what we are is we're a ministry that seeks to walk alongside women and men and families who have been impacted by an abortion decision, whether it is the woman who has made the decision, whether it's the man who either pressured the decision or maybe had no voice in the decision, or for grandparents or siblings or uncles and aunts, anyone who is feeling the loss and grief after an abortion decision. And so it's all we do, which is really unique. We are very focused on that person who a lot of people don't want to talk about or gets lost in the conversation about abortion. So I feel very honored to be, especially in these times, on the front lines of fighting for their voice and their stories. And so what we do at the ministry, we have a fairly simple model of ministry. We do abortion recovery groups. They're weekly support groups that help women walk through the stages of grief and anger and denial. And then we have also, which was really exciting, last year, we launched services for men as well.
That's
more and
awesome.
More men were reaching out that needed help and support. And so we do 2 curriculums. For women, we use a book called Her Choice to Heal. And for men, we use a book called Healing the Father. And so it's, you can't just change a pronoun and have the words impact people the same way.
No.
And then another leg of our ministry is called Reconciliation Weekend. This is how I got involved with the ministry. And it is a time where we let participants, clients, get away from the busyness of life. And we help put them in scenarios where Jesus loved and served people. And our hope is for them to see themselves in the story and find healing and freedom. And so in that weekend, they get intentional time to reconcile with the Lord, reconcile with themselves, and then reconcile with their children. And that weekend ends with a memorial service for their children, which is incredibly impactful and important to their healing process. So it's been beautiful. It has changed my life. I could go into that for hours, but that's not what we're here for. And then the thing that we do that I think is unique to abortion recovery services is we offer something called Next Steps. So what we found in almost 20 years of ministry is that women and men who have abortion in their background will tend to keep people at arm's length. They don't get involved in their churches. They keep relationships on the surface because they're afraid if people hear my story. They're going to reject me. And so we know that they need a safe place to continue to grow in their relationship with Christ and with one another. So we do this 2 ways. We offer Bible studies that help people grow in their relationship and understanding of who God is. And then we also work on things like anger and resentment and forgiveness and self-esteem. And so just trying to help them continue that healing journey. And then we also do something called Connect events. So what's super fun, we build a very safe environment for each other. And so 3 or 4 times a year, we just get together and do something fun. So we just did a trivia night. It was so much fun. People can let their hair down. We're all there for the same reason, so no one has to feel like they have to be guarded. And so it's been really beautiful to watch the ministry grow in community, especially in the last couple of years.
That's awesome.
That's what we do.
I love it.
Amazing. I love it. If someone is finding themselves in a position where they feel like they would like to reach out, how would they go about doing that, and what can they expect?
Yeah, that's good. So there's a lot of ways we can reach out these days. First and foremost, we would love for people to share their story. If they've gone through healing, to let other people in their life know that there's healing out there. But we have a website. We get a lot of our inquiries through the web. And then we also have referrals. So a lot of pregnancy centers were kind of the first line of defense if they have a woman come in who has an abortion in her background. So we get a lot of referrals from pregnancy centers, churches. We are part of a network of abortion healing providers, and then we also are part of something called the H3 helpline. So it's a 24/7 support hotline, and if someone calls and doesn't have a local healing service near them, they'll refer to us. Okay. So it's usually fairly slow, but as you can imagine, in the last 3 weeks, it has gotten very busy.
Yeah.
And so people find us word of mouth, testimony, and then through referral. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, and the services.
Yes.
I forgot that part. I think I already kind of mentioned that and what they can expect. Our goal is you are not a number. Yes. You are not a statistic. You are not just a check mark on a box that we have. And so our goal is to always reach out to you within the first 24 hours. If you reach out for help, someone will personally call you, and then we'll set up an intake interview. And you'll talk to somebody who also has an abortion experience. So sometimes it kind of helps because they'll share their story and you don't feel so much pressure to share your story. Yeah. And then that person will then determine what's your best next step. Are you ready to go into a group? Do you need a little more time just in your healing journey? Has it been just a few days since your abortion experience, or has it been 25 years? Sometimes women or men are reaching out and they don't know who Jesus is. And so we need to stop and we need to help them understand who God is so that they can be healed. Yeah. And so then they get plugged into our groups and then they go through our services. What's beautiful about If Not for Grace too is there's not a one size fits all. Yes. Every person's story is unique. And I've told our staff, as COVID forced us online, our reach has expanded greatly. But even if I reach someone in Washington, if I don't reach their heart deeply, then what are we doing? Right. So we just want to offer individual one-on-one care. We want to meet them right where they are, which means we can't reach 300 a year. No. But if we only reach 30 or 3, the impact can be huge.
Yes.
Yeah. That's definitely awesome.
Yeah. I'm actually just overjoyed and excited to be able to have you here and to be able to partner with If Not for Grace and to get what you guys are offering out there. Like, I get choked up. So part of one of the other things we really wanted to know actually is how can we support If Not for Grace? So obviously we're doing this and this is great, and this is actually more an outreach to support you, and hopefully that reach is grand and great, because we know that especially now as everything's kind of come to a head, as you said, people are starting to understand and want to actually reach out for help. So we wanted to definitely get that out there, get If Not for Grace out there. But how else can we be supporting you? How can individuals be supporting you?
Sure. Well, one thing I should have mentioned earlier is the statistics tell us 1 in 4 women will have an abortion in her lifetime. And I would argue, I do believe that those statistics are higher with the change in the abortion industry. With chemical abortion being sent straight to women's homes, those are not being reported. And so the level of care and the level of trauma that women and men are experiencing is great. Yeah. And so number one, the best way you can support us is just pray. Pray for God to soften hearts and to open eyes that people need help, that they need the Lord, they need people who love Him and will not judge them and just walk that healing journey with them. The second thing is awareness. The hardest thing about our job is that people don't know we exist. The world says there's nothing to grieve, and the church is saying that you should grieve because you made the worst decision and sin possible. And so no one wants to talk about the healing that can happen. And so just letting people know, hey, I heard about this organization. You're going to have women in your life. You have women in your life right now who are dealing with this shame. And so just being willing to freely talk about, hey, I heard about this ministry, and it's all about grace and forgiveness and restoration is huge. And then thirdly, because things are growing, we are in desperate need of people who are willing to be trained as facilitators. So it is not an easy job to walk this healing journey. And we have wonderful facilitators, but we went from having a few intakes and inquiries a month to multiple a day. And so we know God is wanting to bring healing, especially to America with all of the language and media ruckus that's been happening. And so if you have a heart to help someone who's hurting, that's about all we need from you. We need a heart that loves Jesus and a heart that's willing. I myself am not a post-abortive woman, but God has brought me here, and I think it's to help others know that just because it's not part of my story doesn't mean I can't love you and walk that journey with you. So, of course, you could always give financially. What nonprofit doesn't need financial support? But God has been really faithful, and so that is not even a concern on my radar. I know He's going to provide.
Amen.
We just need people who are willing to walk that journey, and so that's how you can help me.
And so we can just put like your website on this video here, and we'll put it on the post, so that way they can go directly there.
And follow us on social media. We have an Instagram, a Facebook. You can stay up to date on what's happening. And we are getting ready to start trying to be more intentional about education. There's a lot of conflicting rhetoric out there, and so we want to equip all of you with just biblically based knowledge and experiential. How do you say that?
Experiential.
You
said it right.
Yeah, I said it right. Knowledge, because it's testimonies like Ashley's, it's testimonies like the hundreds of women and men we've served that is really going to make the change.
Yeah, and I know several women in my life that have experienced abortion, that haven't actually walked through the healing, and I've seen their hearts and the true shame and guilt and the destructive patterns of their life. So what you guys are doing it's huge. So thank you for taking the courage to love people right where they're at. My side note really quick, I was actually listening to a podcast by Lisa Harper, and it's called Back Porch Theology, and
it's a good one.
She has her professor. I just listened to it, and he talked about, and it's exactly what you guys were doing, that's why it reminded me of it. He was talking about having a woman come in who had all the things hurled at her, and she was like, and she was like, do you want to talk about it? And he was like, I just want to sit and love you. And I think that that's important, that we love people right where they're at, and just let them experience the love of Christ. So thank you for that. Yeah, well, can I pray for your ministry?
That would be wonderful.
Father, I just thank you. I thank you for who you are. I think you are such a loving, good God. But Father, you're also just a good Father. And there are men and women out there that are hurting. And Lord, you've equipped Renee and all of the people that are with If Not for Grace, that have a heart for these women, to love these women and these men and these family members right where they're at, Lord. So I just pray for just encouragement over them, strength over them, Lord, and peace, Lord, and just guidance and discernment, Father. And I lift up every single person that is watching this video right now that has heard the good news of what If Not for Grace is doing. And Lord, if there is anything that has been stirred in their heart to reach out, Lord, I just ask for you to give them courage to touch, to reach out and touch somebody with If Not for Grace, Lord. I just thank you for what this ministry is doing. I thank you for what you're doing. I thank you for the work that we still have ahead of us, God. And I just pray for, again, any person that is listening, Lord, that they feel your love and your grace and your mercy, Lord, and that they will get to a place where they can fully, completely receive it, God, because you love them. You love them so much. God, we just love you, and we thank you, and we ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you guys for watching this video, and we will have all the information on this video and also in the post. We love you so much. God bless you.